We're in the Millennium Tower downtown here, Calgary, and we were given the opportunity to create something truly amazing. I am Heidi, and I am the creative director and owner here at Forage and Design. We create moss walls, and we like to call them forest art, but it's using different types of preserved mosses. They're preserved, meaning they're real, but they're no longer living. And so the texture, as if it's still living, is still maintained in those mosses. So it still has that soft elements, very tactile. And what you see behind me is the wall created using different types of mosses into millwork that was created from Exhibit Studio. So Exhibit Studio created the framework we needed to build our moss panels into. They installed the framing onto the wall, and then we were able to insert our moss panels already ready to go into those panels and doing touch-ups on site. Now, before we fully tackled this project, we wanted to create a physical piece that could show our client the overall look, the different layers we wanted to create. So here we have a sample. We have incorporated brass swirls that we've brought up from the bottom of the trim work here. So we wanted to bring this brass up, and then into that we've inserted our moss panels, which have this very 3D, this moment where it reaches out towards you. And then it has little elements of plants that add an extra layer of mystery, because underneath the plants is more mosses. These millwork rounds, in one of the spaces on one of the walls, we created mirrors instead of fully solid circles.
Hi, I'm Logan Frentz. I'm the design director at Exhibit Studio. At Exhibit Studio, we do exhibits for trade shows, museums, interpretive centers. We do a lot of custom activations for our clients. Projects vary from trade shows to these really custom jobs like the one we're doing for Heidi. With this job, we were initially discussing looking at 4 walls in the lounge. When we presented the concepts to the client, they loved it and brought in the corridor as a secondary area. As we developed the idea, we just went from flat views of it to more modeled views, just to show the client what it could look like. This wasn't an exact representation, but it just kind of gave them a bit more of a visual of what they were going to see when it was all done. This really helped get the job pushed through and get their sign off.
So the piece behind me, which is named Heart of the Forest, this is the original wall that we wanted to create something, whether it being a solid moss wall or some kind of movement. There was no limit as to what we could do.
One of the challenges when they liked the direction for the lounge, and then we had to go into corridor, is the client asked to integrate the mirror or a mirrored material into it. And we weren't sure exactly how that would work, because there's the brass, there's the wood, and then moss. And so we were looking at, and also too, just the design, the form of the mural. We had to figure out the best way to integrate the mirror as well. So we did it with these circular panels layered on top of brass. And then we embedded the brass into the wood. So just as like a nice little accent feature to cause movement or flow.
We wanted to create something that was different, maybe not a solid moss wall or green wall that we usually create, where it could be a rectangle or square, but how about something like a mural on a wall, something that had movement that we could explore as we moved through the space. We call it the corridor, but as you walk through, it creates, it gives you a bit of a journey that you land into this lounge space where there is seating, and brings you to a destination of beauty. That is what we did.